Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited to be here. My name is Jenn Stephenson. I am Associate Dean Academic in the Faculty of Arts and Science. And you might wonder, what is an Associate Dean? What does it mean to be Associate Dean Academic? I have oversight over everything to do with the undergraduate academic experience. So I am the Associate Dean of you and your studies in arts and science. And so I follow your journey as students at Queen's from events like this, recruitment, and through admissions, to when you enroll for courses, through your studies. Curriculum falls under my portfolio, academic regulations falls under my portfolio. All the way through to plan selection when you're choosing your major, and so on, all the way to the degree, approving the degree lists and your graduation. So that's me. I'm also a professor. I teach in the Dan School of Drama and Music. And I have with me here Haley Everson. Haley is Associate Director, Student Services, and part of her responsibility is academic advising, and she oversees a team of academic advisors who are normally located in Dunning Hall, but right now are pretty much everywhere. Everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And they are sort of available for you to ask questions. So you could meet with an academic advisor, obviously by Zoom or email or phone or anything these days. But this is the kind of person where you ask, am I taking the right courses? I'd like to drop this course. Should I? What happens if I drop? Am I on track to graduate? Have I got the right mix of courses to get me where I want to go? So Haley has joined me very generously tonight, and she is going to be answering questions in the Q&A as we go. So the plan for this session is I'm going to give a pretty short presentation, and then there's going to be time at the end for Q&A. So if you want to ask a question, you can post it in the Q&A, post your question there. And as we go, Haley's going to be typing and answering your questions, and then at the end, I'm going to answer some questions sort of live. Okay, so that's the plan. All right, before we begin properly, I would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. I've been thinking a lot about the land, especially now that we are all in virtual space, and that we're not allowed to be on campus very much. We can kind of walk through, but a lot of the buildings are closed. And so I've been thinking a lot about space, and I've been thinking a lot about land. And the importance of the land and what the campus as land means to me. So I want to take this opportunity to make a formal land acknowledgement and acknowledge that the Faculty of Arts and Science is on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples. And we are very grateful to live, work, and study on that land. So today the plan is, topic is arts and science program options. And we're going to talk about the right fit for you, all the different kinds of degree options and combinations that arts and science offers. And hopefully among all those options, you can start thinking about which one of those options is going to be just the right one for you and for your interests and for your curiosity and for your passions. And so that's what we're going to do. Before I get into it, I want to also just mention that this is part of a series. So we've already done 2 webinars. We did 2 last week. The recordings are available on the Arts and Science website. There's going to be another one Wednesday morning on student experience. And then we are hosting a virtual open house on Saturday. So on November the 14th, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern and running most of the day, we are going to be having open house. And that's going to be a great chance for you to meet professors and students in the programs, in the departments and majors that you are interested in. So please join us again on Saturday. All right, and as I mentioned, this is being recorded, and so you'll be able to watch it again later or share it with someone who wasn't able to be here. Okay, next, whoops, that's not what I want to do. Oh, now I've done it. Oh, now I've totally done it. I lost my mouse completely. Oh. Okay, mouse. What was that? Hey, fantastic. All right. Well, panic there for a second. No problem. Okay. The Faculty of Arts and Science is the largest faculty at Queen's. We make up more than 60% of the student undergraduate population. And we also, under that umbrella, we have 30 different departments. And we think it's kind of special to be a faculty of arts and science. There's only about 5 big faculties of arts and science in Canada, and we are one of them. And that umbrella of being arts and science with 30 different departments under that umbrella, we think is really special and gives you lots and lots and lots of degree options. So to begin with, I want to talk about the general first year. So when you apply to Queen's, you apply to arts, let's say, or to science, and you enter into what we call general first year. And the general first year, we think is a really marvelous experience and is really an advantage. So what that means is you take 5 courses in your first year. And I often say to students when I meet them in person, I say, well, what are you interested in? And student will say, well, I love history. And I say, great, so you're going to take history in your first year. What else do you like? And they'll say, well, I love English. And I'll say, great, so you're going to take history and English. What else? And they look at me a bit perplexed at that point. First year, you're going to take 5 different courses, 5 different courses. And one of those, or 2, are going to be the ones where you're going to be a concentrator. So one of those is going to be your major, another could be a minor. Again, lots and lots of choice. So history, English, maybe you play an instrument, take music, or you could do film or a language, so on. So that first year is really an exploration. You could do math and physics with chemistry and psychology, totally, totally open. And you can see here in this list the many, many subjects that you could take in that first year. So that first year mix is completely personal. It's completely up to you what you want to take in first year. There are no mandatory courses in arts and science, so you're not required to take a math. You're not required to take language. That first year is completely customizable. And then what happens is at the end of your first year, after you've taken these 5 courses, then we say to you, which one of those would you like to choose for your major? And what's great about that is we allow students to have a whole year to explore, to think about it. You're going to take your top 5, and then you're going to see what happens. And inevitably, some people pick politics and they love it and it's great and they go on to be a politics major. Some people discover something new. You fall in love with a particular subject that you hadn't really engaged with before. You love sociology or global development studies or biochemistry. I don't know. And so you can follow your interests. Maybe a particular professor lights your intellectual fire. Maybe you find a department and peers, other students in that department, or a mode of learning that really clicks with you. So again, you've got a whole year to think about it before you choose your major at the end of your first year. So again, we want students to get acclimatized to university study, learn, grow, and then make a decision. Because you can take 5 courses in your first year, and again, this very unique mix, I often say to students, your degree at Queen's is going to be as unique as you are. So again, it's very much kind of a mix and match. So last year when I was doing this presentation live in person, I met a young woman in Vancouver, and she told me that one of the reasons that she was really interested in arts and science was this customization, because her ambition was to be a diplomat. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. So I said to her, fantastic, because she'll take politics, she'll take economics, global development studies, maybe a language or 2. Again, she's not majoring in diplomat, but she can mix and match and take all these courses that are going to feed into her interests. Also, during that same tour, when we were going around, I met a young man in Hamilton, and he told me that his passion was for machine learning. I thought, great. So again, we talked a bit, and his plan was to take computing, math, but also philosophy, thinking about the ethics of artificial intelligence, linguistics, thinking about how computers think and how computers learn language. And again, that kind of mix, computing, math, philosophy, linguistics, is all possible under the arts and science umbrella. And so that is the pathway when we think about the general first year. In addition to the general first year in arts or a general first year in science, we do have a handful of direct entry programs. These are programs that are a little bit more specialized. You can see them listed there. So fine art, that's visual art, sort of studio art, kinesiology, life sciences, music, and music theater. And so those are programs that they have a few more requirements, and then you apply to them directly for first year. Okay, next. All right, degree plans. So when you're thinking about your degree in arts and science, there's sort of four basic kind of shapes of your degree. And again, you get to choose, and you don't have to choose till the end of your first year. But when you're ready to choose, these are some of the templates that we have for you. And the first one is major. So you would choose a major, and you notice that your whole degree is 120 units. That's how we count in units. And your major is 60 units, which is going to be half of all your courses. So half of all your courses will be in whatever you choose, geography or philosophy or history, whatever. And then the other 60 units are elective. So as I said, no mandatory courses. The other 60 units are completely your choice, and everything in arts and everything in science would be available to you. And then you can see option 2, which is a major minor combination. So again, you have a major, which is half of all your units, and then you can add a minor. So 30 units would be your minor. It's like a quarter of everything would be in your minor. And again, like I say, one of the neat things about arts and science is you could do an arts major, like philosophy, with a science minor. So you could do philosophy and physics, or you could do, I don't know, chemistry and music. Really completely up to you. So you can do arts major with a science minor, or a science major with an arts minor, or obviously 2 arts or 2 sciences, however you want to do that mix. Option 3 is on the science side. Some sciences have specializations. So for example, in our life sciences, you can do a life science specialization, which you can see is 84 units. It's a little heavier. It's a little bit more dense concentration in your area. And then finally, option template number 4 is a medial. So medial is this funny thing that we have, I think, only at Queen's. So you think major, medial, minor. So medial is like medium. It's in the middle. It's kind of like a double major. You can see it's 2 significant areas of concentration. And so students might be a history politics medial, or a drama music medial, or an English and philosophy medial, and so on. So you get those kinds of mixes, and that's what we're talking about when we talk about a medial concentration. Okay. Now I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about some of the program options. So first of all, we have here computing. Computing is a direct entry program, so you would apply directly into computing, but computing courses are available to all students. And there's a certificate in computing called Certificate in Data Analytics, which again, anyone in arts and science can add that to their degree. Some of the areas of focus in computing: biomedical computing, cognitive science, computing and math, software design, and computing and the creative arts. So you can take computing with creative arts. It's called COCA, Computing and the Creative Arts. And you can put computing together with film, with drama, with music, or with visual art. So lots of combinations there. What you see here in this picture is one of the computing labs. And what this young woman is doing with her hand is she's using her hand gestures to control a remote drone. So this is one of the technologies that has been invented by researchers in the School of Computing in Arts and Science. All right, next. Creative arts. So creative arts at Queen's, again, under the arts and science umbrella, we're thinking film and media, drama, music, and visual art. So again, you can do a major in any one of those areas, or a minor. You can also participate in performances like this one. This is a production called If We Were Birds by Canadian playwright named Aaron Shields. And to be in a production at Queen's, you do not have to be a drama major. Auditions are open to everyone, and that is true also of music ensembles. So if you want to play in the jazz ensemble or in the orchestra or sing in the choir, you can, and you can do that for credit if you wish. It's also possible if you play an instrument and you want to continue and take lessons in your instrument, you can also do that for credit, and you don't have to be a major in music. So there's that. Okay, this particular production of If We Were Birds took place at the Isabel Bader Center for the Performing Arts, which is a beautiful art center on campus. It's been open about 5 years now. It's right on the lake. There's a concert hall, there's a drama studio, there's film editing suites, broadcast studio, as well as an art gallery, and we call it the Isabel. And then we also have an art gallery on campus, which we call the Agnes. So we have the Isabel and the Agnes, and those are two major art centers on campus that are open to students for your use and for your study. Okay, moving on, thinking about humanities fields. What do we mean by humanities? When we're thinking humanities, we're thinking art history, thinking English, philosophy, history, religious studies, also thinking about languages. In arts and science at Queen's, there are 13 different languages that you can study beginning at the beginner level. Of course, many of them, there are more advanced levels, but if you want to just learn something new, there are 13 different languages that you can pick from. And one of the things that I personally think is pretty cool about that is we teach 3 indigenous languages. We teach Inuktitut and 2 languages that are local to the Kingston Cataraqui area, Mohawk and Anishinaabe-Moan. In humanities, you'll be part of pretty small tutorial groups. It would be sort of typical for you to be in a group of, say, 25 or 30 students with a strong focus on group work, as you see here, and class discussion. Something else to think about is exchange. Thinking about languages makes me think about study abroad. Many students take advantage of the opportunity to study abroad, usually in their 3rd year. And we have 85 exchange partners in 24 different countries. So again, you might put that in the back of your mind as something you might want to think about as part of your Queen's experience. Moving from humanities to social sciences. So in social sciences, that includes things like health studies, sociology, economics, politics, global development studies, gender studies, geography, psychology, and more. Social sciences, one of the characteristics that sort of marks these particular fields of study is field work. So you see students here who are out in the community, and that's quite typical in the social sciences, is getting out into the field and studying remotely and looking at real world problems, looking at the human face of these kinds of issues, and marrying scientific techniques to thinking about human social issues. One thing I will say about social sciences is I want to just particularly flag psychology. I know this is our most popular 1st year course. We have 1,800 students who take Psych 100, but don't be put off by that large number. So if you enroll in 1st year in Psych and you take Psych 100, we divide that group into more than 70 different lab sections. And so you would be meeting with a lab section of only 24 people. You would get to know them very, very well. Those labs are led by professors and by teaching assistants. And the Psych 100 labs are really interactive. You get put into sort of pod groups of 6, and with your team of 6 people, you are given hands-on problems to solve each week. We call it inquiry-based learning. And so there are puzzles, and there are experiments, and there are different kinds of tasks that make the learning embodied. The learning comes in through your, not just through your eyes, but also through your hands. So that's psych, 1st year psych. Okay. Oops. Moving on to life and physical sciences. We're doing like a whole tour of the Faculty of Arts and Science. When we're thinking about life and physical sciences, we're thinking about biology, chemistry, physics, math, geology, environmental science, as well as environmental studies. So one of the neat things about environmental science, environmental studies, is that you can study environmental issues on the science side and look at the chemistry and biology of cells and plants, animals, etc. Or you can study environmental issues on the arts side and look at, for example, climate policy or the laws pertaining to environmental management or the social impacts of environmental activism. So again, environment could be a science degree or it could be an arts degree, and I think that's kind of neat. As I mentioned before, also under life and physical sciences, there are two direct entry programs. One is direct entry into life sciences, and the other is direct entry into kinesiology. Okay. All right. Next steps. First of all, I want to thank everyone for joining me and Haley this evening. I want to gesture towards what's coming up next. I already mentioned this a little bit, but there are the details on your screen. So Wednesday morning early, I'm going to be leading another webinar on the arts and science student experience. We're going to talk about how to add a certificate to your degree program, all the different kinds of certificates that we offered. I already mentioned the one in data analytics. We have about 12 more to talk about. Internships. So sometimes we say internship, but you might be thinking co-op, but we call it internship at Queen's. I'll talk about that on Wednesday. Exchange, so study abroad opportunities, research opportunities. If you're thinking about pursuing graduate work or you're interested in research, you want to work in a professor's lab or assist with their research, there's tons of opportunities for that as well. And the other thing I'm going to talk about on Wednesday is studying at our castle in the UK. So Queen's has a castle, it's called Herstmosse Castle, and we have cohorts of students who travel there to study. And then on Saturday, as I mentioned, we're having virtual open house, and there are going to be representatives from every department, students and professors there to talk to you. We're going to have breakout rooms. You can go around to the different breakout rooms and meet and talk to them and ask questions at that time. And then I've also put up some websites there. You can see for more information, this webinar will be posted there. queensu.ca artsci/connect. We are running a student ambassador program. So if you want to chat with an upper year student, we are happy to match you based on your interests. We have about 25 student ambassadors in a wide range of areas and concentrations and majors who would be happy to answer questions about student life and about their experience at Queen's. Then we have our Why ArtSci page. And finally, I want to direct you to admissions. So any questions about your application, about the admissions process, you can find that out at admissions, and they have a really great FAQ.